Hello. We're continuing with life science and cell biology in a nutshell. We're learning about various functional groups which make molecules unique. And so this is where we left off. So an ester is a carbon. So currently we're learning about the oxygen functional groups, which are molecules containing carbon and oxygen. So we learned alcohols, OH, ketone, um, RCOR. R's are the groups that may vary that are bound to the functional groups. So ketone aldehyde are RCHO, acyl halide RCOX, X being a halide, which is chlorine, fluorine, bromide, or iodine. Carbonates ROCOOR. Carboxyl is RCOO minus. Carboxylic acid is RCOOH. So esters are RCOOR, in other words, carbon, double bound oxygen, another oxygen. So R groups on either side. Example, ethyl butanoate. Methoxy ROCH3. Hydroperoxide is ROOH. Peroxide is ROOR. Ethers are ROR. For example, diethyl ether. So hemiacetal is RCHOR and OH. So you have a central carbon bound to an oxygen to an R, bound to another R group, bound to an OH group and an H group. Hemiketal is RCOROHR. So basically similar to the previous, except there's an extra R group in place of a hydrogen. Okay, acetal RCHOROR. So central carbon to an R, and then two OR groups, oxygen and R groups, and an H. Ketal RCOROR is central carbon bound to two pairs of R groups and two pairs of OR groups, oxygen and R. And orthoester, is the central carbon bound to three OR groups and an R group. Heterocycle is a carbon bound to two OR groups. Kind of looks like a ring. Orthocarbonate ester, COR, carbon in the middle, oxygen and CH3 groups coming off the central carbon. So then groups containing nitrogen are compounds containing nitrogen, they may contain also CO or oxygen bonds as well. such as in the case of amides. So an amide is RCON, R2, so carbon, double bound oxygen, an R, and then a nitrogen bound to the central carbon, and two R's coming out. An amine doesn't have an oxygen, it's just nitrogen, an R group, and two hydrogens. If you have a secondary amine, you have nitrogen, hydrogen, and two R groups. Tertiary amines have three R groups. And four quaternary has four R groups to a central nitrogen. An imine is the central carbon double bound to a nitrogen and a hydrogen and two R groups. So imine. If you have a secondary ketimine, you have the same thing, but you have an extra R group. So a central carbon, double bound nitrogen, instead of a hydrogen, an extra R group, and then two R groups coming off the carbons. So three R groups total. Alrighty, and then aldimine, it's the same. So carbon double bound nitrogen, you have two hydrogens, one R group. Secondary two R groups. Imide, nitrogen in the middle, and two oxygen, a C double O groups on either side. So like carboxyl, which R is also bound to the carbons, the carboxyl, and an R group of the central nitrogen. So that's an imide. Acid are three nitrogens. So double bonds between the three nitrogens and an R group. Azo compounds are two nitrogens double bound with R groups coming off the nitrogens. Cyanates is carbon, singly bound oxygen, triply bound nitrogen to the carbon, an R group coming off the oxygen. Isocyanate is carbon, triple bound nitrogen, singly bound oxygen. However, double bound nitrogen, double bound oxygen to the carbon, and an R group off the nitrogen. Now, nitrate N, three oxygens, two singly bound, one double bound, and an R group off one of the oxygens. So nitriles also have nitrogen and an R group. So RCN, carbon, nitrogen to an R group. Nitrite, nitrogen, two oxygens, one single, one double bound. And then R group off one of the oxygens. A nitro compound, nitrogen, two oxygens again, one double, one single, and R group off the nitrogen, in this case. Nitroso compound, nitrogen double bound oxygen, just one oxygen, and an R group off the nitrogen. Oxime, carbon double bound to nitrogen, and on OH group off the nitrogen, and either one R group or two R groups, which may be replaced by a hydrogen group.